So hi everyone, I am Janeska William. I recently graduated from St. Louis University with my master's in public health, and I'm originally from California. And I'm here to introduce Outspoken Bean and his guest, Russel Guess. Here they are. So first with Outspoken Bean, he is Houston's 2021 to 2023 poet laureate. The New Jersey born and San Antonio raised H-Town-based military brat was introduced to the arts and world cultures at a very young age and has not let go of it. An energetic pioneer for poetry in all its different sizes and shapes, Bean is dedicated to making sure that poets get heard. Emily Hintz of Art and Culture magazine wrote of Bean. Bean uses poetry to engage different mediums and institutions to create new and engaging art, such as being the first poet to perform on Houston's ballet main stage with their production play. And with their guest, Russel Guess, is highly skilled music and audio professional specializing in production, composition, songwriting, arrangement, programming, scoring, recording, and artist development. Other skills include vocal production, mixing, editing, sound design, live audio, artist management, social media management, and music supervisor. A lover of all things media and content, passionate about consistently delivering art that is impactful and timeless, and helping the great get to hear their greatness in the process. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to them two. And at the end, we'll have questions as well as participants can put questions in the chat. So there you go, guys.
Will you be reading the chat questions, or will I have to do that
I can do that if you would like, but whatever works.
That would be helpful. Yeah, keep an eye on that. Hello, everyone. My name is Outspoken Bean. This right here, my homeboy. Russell.
We can't hear you.
Cannot hear me?
The sound is really low. It's hard to hear.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can hear me? All right. So I'm sorry about that. Now I can't hear me. All right. Here we go, y'all. So my name is, again, Outspoken Bean. We're really excited to be here with y'all. And I want to give you a kind of an excerpt of storytelling, right? I have this project I'm doing with the city of Houston, along with Russell, where we are doing where I wanted to not just do poetry all around the city, but like engage with people as far as like storytelling and what does that mean in the workshop where you don't need paper. So we are Russell's angle in this is he's going to be playing music as we do this. He's going to be playing music as we do this, as we build together, as we build with each other, and I will be doing the majority of the talking. The questions, I am open for questions. However, I would rather, during that time, y'all go into the element of what am I saying? They'll go into the element of like sharing a story, if you will, right? How is that? Yeah. I would prefer that. So this is going to be a lot faster. This workshop is usually done in like an hour and a half, but we're going to do it in 45 minutes. I don't think I knew that. So here we go. Thank y'all so much for having me. I would like to hear what are some of your favorite. I would like to hear what are y'all's favorite stories, right? Favorite kind of stories, and Russell, whenever you're ready, bro. What are some of your favorite kind of stories you like to consume? Is it through books? Is it through movies? how do you like to consume your stories? Is it gossip? That's probably my favorite. How do you like to consume your stories? And yeah, so anyone just come in, share. Uh-oh, not all at once. I can literally, I mean, I can't see myself, but I can see y'all. I just want y'all to know that, right? Anyone?
Will you ask your question again?
Yes, I'll ask again. What are your favorite media or genres of consuming your story? So like, is it a movie? Is it novels?
Mm.
Storytelling. How do you like, what's your favorite way of receiving your stories?
I love movies.
Okay.
Definitely like very intentional about movies. And some TV shows, I don't like reality shows, so like
Okay. Okay. All right.
fiction. But
What
yeah.
what kind of movie? What kind of movie? What kind of movies? What's
So I just watched, just because it's fresh on my mind, Old. I like scary movies. So I just
scary
watched
movie?
Old by M. Night Shyamalan, which had a lot of mixed reviews, but it was very intriguing. I like psychological thriller and
Okay.
horror.
All right, there we go. So we got psychological thrillers, horror. All right, I'm with that. I'm with that. All right, someone else.
TV shows. So you got Stranger Things, the
All
new
right.
ones.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. All right, I'll take two
I
out of
like books. Um,
books.
books.
Yeah,
Um,
cool.
my favorite are my very favorite genre are memoirs. Okay, because I believe that if we share our life experiences, we can learn from them. Um, I happen to be a new author, but sort of embarking on a second career here. But
Awesome.
um, I will enjoy good fiction,
Awesome.
um, particularly if it goes in depth to why and how a person came to be.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hmm.
So I think like the majority of the way we take in stories um is uh is this format that we learned as kids, honestly, right? We got the exposition, and then we got the rising action. We got the exposition, we got the rising action, we have the what is it, the climax, falling action, and then we end it with the conclusion, right? And today, with our storytelling that we're going to do, um, I want us to. It's not a lot of writing you're going to be doing, right? I really want to focus on more on the oral aspects of it, and um, and and because I do think it's like interesting when we're talking with each other and we're sharing something that happened at work or something that happened in your childhood. A lot of that things it's not organized like that. You know what I mean? And I find like as people, or me, I'll speak from the I in this instance, like I find myself being extremely uh 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 uh, 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 not unlinear. I know that's not a word, but not linear in my storytelling, right? It is not beginning, middle, and end, right? Or in the traditional sense, it's very circular. It's very it's very much in a cycle, and I want to kind of like I want to like help y'all get there, right? So with that, with our storytelling, we're going to do today in this digital community, right? We're all going to be doing something new. Russell is making original music right now. His medium of storytelling is music and music production, right? And mine is running my mouth. And so we come together to bring this to you, okay, y'all? So I want you to think about. I like analogies. So I see oral storytelling as we are pirates on a ship. All right, we are sailing the seas, right? And when you are storytelling, you are the captain. You, the captain, right? We are all in your crew. We are your mateys, but you are the captain, right? And the captain, and again, I'm using pirates here, and the captain knows where the treasure is, right? Because the treasure is the treasure is where the X is, right? And the X marks the spot. So the captain knows where the treasure is. The captain may even have a map, right? The captain may have been there before, or the captain, in this case, has been there before, right? So we are going to follow what the captain says and where this treasure is, right? Because your heart knows the way, right? Remember this, your heart knows the way when it comes to storytelling. And I'm saying that because, like, y'all, I know, like, my mom, I'm my mom's only child. And so with my parents, and I have five siblings, and like they're all close in age, and then there's like a 9-year gap between me and them. And my family accuses me of, like, they say I misremember things that I know that they did. Right? I definitely know that they did, right? And I got to a point where I'm not really interested in their version of said story about what I experienced, right? So in this story that you're going to choose to share with us, I'm not interested in other people who may be in it. I'm not interested in their truths. I'm interested in your truth and how you experience, because that's how we will feel it. And I'm following you. All right? Y'all are following me when I share my story. You're not going to be following what Terry Bean side portion of the story, or Danielle Bean, these are my siblings, or Danielle Bean's version of the story. No, they were there, but they are not the captain. I am. Y'all are the captain of this ship. All right? We're following you. You know where the X is. You know where the treasure is. We are following you. All right? Remember that, right? I'm not asking you to lie, by the way. Just to be clear, I'm not asking you to lie. However, I won't know. All right? I won't know if you do, because I am following your story. I'm curious and want to know your journey. And if you tend to forget some things, remember, your heart knows the way. Your heart knows the way. Your heart knows the way. Always. It always does.
I just
Yes.
wanted to let you know there's some interference with the audio. And so there's a little bit of a rumbling or static as you speak.
As I speak, not as the music plays.
Yeah.
Man, I really dropped some gems here, y'all. Y'all missed it.
We could follow through, but it just was coming through as you were talking.
Did I use this microphone? What if I use this microphone? Okay. Okay.
So is there static right now?
Is there static right now?
No, I'm not getting any static.
I believe
Whatever you did
Dr.
worked,
Ada-
but we couldn't hear Russell though if he was talking.
No, he's muted. Russell is muted. So it sounds like when Russell plays music. No, can't hear me now?
Oh, has Russell been playing music this whole time? Because we didn't hear.
Yes. Yeah, he's been playing music.
We couldn't hear it.
Okay. All right. So how do I sound now? Just nod your head. How do I sound now? No, nothing. You cannot hear me.
We can hear you, but it's
Oh,
still
you can
that
hear me.
sound.
Oh yeah. He said he's gonna worry about the music part later. He's working on that, but y'all can hear me though, right?
We can hear you, but when you speak in the mic, there's still that sound interference.
I don't know, bro. But y'all can hear me though, and y'all can make out what I'm saying. Wow. Okay, that's not great. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Oh,
No
what you
worries,
just
we've
said
had
didn't have static. I don't know what you did, but
He
when
just
he
did
said
something.
Yeah, that was very
It might
clear.
be a
Your
that was
last
cord.
clear.
statement.
It might be a cord.
Right now? Cool right now?
Is it cool right now? As
Hmm.
I'm talking to you right
yes.
now,
Hmm.
it might be a cord, bro. Okay. Okay. Am I still good, y'all? All right. So we're gonna just stay still, and we're not gonna move that cord from that area. And Russell is gonna try to. He's been making music, so he's gonna figure that out. But we're gonna keep going. Um, I'll start. I'll go back a little bit. I'm not interested in what other people who may have been in your story, their versions of it. So I feel a lot of times we may tell stories and consider other people's thoughts of something that you experienced. And I'm not interested in that as you tell your story in this oral telling workshop. You are the captain of this ship. We are following wherever you are bringing us to. So, with that, one of the last things I said is I'm not asking you to lie, but I also won't know if you do. All right. I also will not know if you do. And um so we're going to start with this story though, right? Like, like I said, we know about exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, conclusion. I want you to think of a story that happened to you. It can happen when you're a child or as an adult, as recent, but it just needs to make sure that it happens, as in it has an ending, it has a conclusion. If it's still kind of going on now, that's not the story we need or want right now. I want or need right now. If like something that is like X, Y, and Z happened, boom, right? I want you to think of that story, and I want you to think about this personal story that you may have. And I want you to think about if it was the last line, what would be the last line of this story, right? We're going to start at the conclusion. How did that story conclude, right? Um, there's not going to be a lot of writing here, okay? But we're going to start backwards. We're going to start from the end and then work back with our storytelling today, with our oral storytelling today. Because when I'm excited about telling a story with someone, I'm coming to them knowing the ending. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, bro, you have no idea what happened, right? I am coming to you knowing the ending already, right? So with that, like I want you to think of a story that has happened to you already, that you know, right? That you know. And again, the minor details and all that stuff, it's really not that interesting. It's not that it's not that interesting. It's not that important. I want you to think of a story that happened to you. I'm gonna give you like a minute because we don't have a lot of time. And I want you to think of the conclusion line. How does that story end, right? And I'll give you an example. My story would be the ending would be, and the two of us tied as champions, right? That would be the ending of my story. And the two of us tied as champions, right? What I The reason why I like doing this is because it kind of gives some mystery. It kind of gives some lure, and it's like, how did you get there? What happened here, right? So I'm gonna give you a minute, a cool minute. I'm gonna give you a minute to think of your story and what would that last line be, starting now. All right. The minute has gone off. The minute has gone off. So, who would like to share their last line? Any takers? Just go ahead and say it out loud. Any takers who would like to say their last line?
I can share.
Yay.
She cried out loud, and the tears, as if on cue, automatically rolled down my face.
She cried out loud on cue. Is that what you said?
I said, she cried out loud, and the tears, as if on cue, automatically rolled down my face.
Love it. Ooh, I love it. Thank you. Okay, I would like to know where that's going. All right. All right, that's your X. That's your X. That is, you have rolled the map. I don't understand this terrain, but I see the X. I'm like, that's where we're going. And you're like, yo, I know the way. And there's no trek. There's no like dotted lines or anything like that. It's just, I know how to get there. All right. Just follow me. Thank you. Anyone else?
Grandma cried because she killed one of God's creatures that couldn't hurt you.
Wow. Grandma cried
because she killed one of God's creatures that couldn't hurt you.
She killed one of God's creatures that couldn't hurt you. Wow. That says a lot. That line says a lot about the grandmother, you know? And now I'm about to cry about all of the lizards I burned with a magnifying glass. I fried them because they were there. But thank you so much. Now, here's the next steps because of the lack of time. I'm going to share my story. And I'm also going to do a poem, but I also would love to hear a story or two from y'all and questions. That's a lot where I'm asking for, right? So here's the things. And if we were doing this in an hour and a half time span, right, y'all, it would be a lot more. I would have y'all group up with people, and you know what I mean, to share and talk and stuff like that. But the main things I would want you to know is to remember that your beginning doesn't have to be beginning. Your rising action doesn't have to be your rising action. Your climax doesn't have to be your climax. I would say to you that your climax can be your beginning. I would say to you that your falling action can be your climax. Wherever you need to start your story, because we are not linear people. We're not organized. Some of you are organized. I'm not one of those people. I am not one of them. But we are not linear people, right? So telling a story orally and having to start from the beginning, you may not have to, right? You may need your audience, your crew, your shipmates, right? Us. We may need to know something in the when you first telling the story. We may need to know something that's actually later or past the conclusion that you need to know, so that way they have context. And then because to us, it's going to be the beginning to us anyway. So like the inner workings, right, y'all? The inner workings of like storytelling orally is start where you want. Start where you want. It doesn't matter. Start where you want. If you don't need to start in the linear beginning, do not start in the linear beginning. If you need to start in the climax, start there. If that's what's honest for you. Know what I'm saying? Because what we're going to hear is the beginning. That's what we're going to hear. get to the X. Remember the story, and you remember the story. Don't remember how other people remember the story. You remember your story, because that's what we're here for, because that's what we want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, your storytelling, your oral storytelling is important to this whole process. So these are the things I would say. I would also say to you, take a breath before you start. Breathe in, breathe out as many times as you need to, clear your head, and then begin. I would also say show and not tell. If we had all the time, I would do a part where it's like, you know, you could say, I was sad. Or you could say, you know, when he walked out, I was hurt knowing that I probably would never see him again. I would rather that. Show with your words. Don't tell us what to feel. My therapist, right, because I have one of those now, he was like, you know, you speak from secondary emotions all the time, right? You speak from secondary emotions, right? Let people get to secondary emotions on their own. You talk about the primary emotions, right? So yes, you're sad, but you wind up getting sad. Yes, you're angry, but you wind up getting angry. What caused you to be angry, right? What caused you to be sad? What caused you to be happy, right? What are the things, right? What are the things that got you to elation? Those are the primary actions that are emotive that you need to talk about. And so I would say that to you with your story. If we had time. If we had time. And then, you know, you would just get up and tell your story. To music. Can y'all hear the music now? Oh, it sounds good. It sounds good. I'm so sorry. That's a bummer. Still can't hear it? That's
I
a
think
bummer.
I hear a little bit, maybe. I hear some. I hear like some. I did. I don't know.
You could hear it when we were thinking of the story. I could hear it a little bit when we were thinking of the story, that 1 minute. So I wonder if it's
that
like
1 minute.
It was good though.
That 1 minute. Well, he's actually working on it, believe it or not. Can you my bad, bro. I messed up. So I'm gonna share my story, okay? I'm gonna share my story. So I'm flying back from Oakland, California in 2014 back to Houston, and I'm sitting next to my best friend, Jeremiah Payne. And I'm like, you know, man, I don't think I'm going to do Poetry Slam anymore. And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I think I want to put this energy into, y'all can hear me, correct? I was like, bro, I think I want to put my energy into my personal work as an artist and as a writer. And he said, man, I think that's a great decision for you, and I support you. Back in 2007, when I first met him, we were not friends. We were actually kind of, our enemies is strong, but he was rude, and I don't let him forget it, and that's that, right? And then a week later, I wind up going to him because I saw him do poetry at an open mic, and I was creating Prairie View's first poetry slam team, and he killed it that night. And I was like, yo, man, you should try out for the slam team. Not only he tried out, he made the team, and that started a friendship that's still going strong to this day of 2022. But in 2013, I just got back from an artist residency for like a half a year, and Jeremiah not only was still doing Poetry Slam while working for NASA, he was the best poet in the city. And I was a little jealous. I was like, how is he the best? And I got him into it. I'm way better than Jeremiah. And I'm gonna prove it. So the goal for me was to start competing against him at a high level, right? And we wind up both of us wind up getting enough points. We wind up getting enough points to make the team and such, right? And to go for a Grand Slam, to go for the Grand Slam for Houston VIP. And so Jeremiah and I are competing for the 2013 Poetry Slam team that will go, 2013 Poetry Slam team that will go to Boston that year. And the way Slam works is you got a room of people, you have 5 judges, right? And each judge gives each poem a score of 5 point from 0.0 to a 10, okay? And then so the each judge gives that score for each poem that they hear. You drop the lowest score, drop the highest, add the 3 in the middle. The highest score individual can get is a 30. So here is the breakdown between Jeremiah and I. He goes in the first round. His score is he gets a 29.9. I go in the first round. I get a 29.9. We in there. Then he gets in the next round he gets a 29.8. I get a 29.9. Even better. And these are by decimal points, y'all. Right? The next round I get a 29.9. And he gets a 30. I'm annoyed, right? But my calculations were off because when I got that 29.9, I walked out. And I was like, I won. I won. And I didn't wait to hear rookie move. I didn't wait to hear his score. So I'm celebrating. I'm like, I'm the champion. Let's go. Yes, y'all. What's up? Yeah, he's my best friend. Doesn't matter. Smashed it. You know what I mean? Even though I had barely one in my head. So then it comes down. I wind up listening to the scores. I'm up there with everyone, and we're just listening, and they're doing the announcement, right? 5th place, person A. 4th place, person B. 3rd place, person C. And I'm like, all right, y'all, here we go. I got it. All right, it's me. I won. With the tie of grand champions, Outspoken Bean and the fluent one, Jeremiah Payne. The fluent one tie as Grand Slam champions. And I was mad. I was upset. I was like, the only way he could have tied is if he had got a perfect score. So we tied as champions. There it is. Yeah. So that's it. That's my story. I love this beat, Russell. Thank you, man. It's a bummer that y'all can't hear it. This platform is not for that. We should just did it on Zoom, y'all. But I would love to hear some stories from y'all. Maybe one person, or if you have questions, I don't mind doing questions. But yeah, I would love to hear stories. I know we don't have a lot of time. Left. But yeah, let's see. Yeah. Russell, I can't see them. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So if anyone has a question, or if anyone has a story they would like to share.
I guess if no one has questions, or maybe if questions are formulating, I have one that I'd like to ask. What is one word to describe poetry, and why does it matter for healing?
One more time.
What is one word to describe poetry, and why does it matter for healing?
I don't know if poetry makes you feel good, but it doesn't really heal. You know what I mean? I tell my students, I coach a youth poetry slam team, and I'm like, yo, listen, y'all, poetry is therapeutic, but it ain't therapy. You know what I'm saying? And there is a line of like things of steps of like moving better, right? Like, you can hear, well, a critique I get often is like, how you don't have anything to say and you're a poet. I'm like, well, that's dumb, because what I have to say is prepared. Like, I write it down. And it's prepared and structured. But a way I would describe, I don't think there's one word to describe poetry, because it hits people differently. I think it's a window. It's like a window pane is how I see poetry, right? It gives views and perspectives of different sides of things that people may have not thought about. I think poetry can be used as a tool more than anything, but to heal is strong. And I kind of think it could be a tool for like building empathy. I think it's a tool for comedy. I think it's a tool for making someone feel better. I think it's a tool for helping people to understand. And maybe in a line of things, it's a tool to help heal, right? But at best, it's just the emotional gravitational pull that is a tool that I see poetry as. To heal, I think there's more that comes with poetry to healing. And I'm not going to say that someone said, oh, poetry saved my life. I'm not going to say, or especially if they said my poetry saved my life. I mean, like, I would ask them to repeat it on camera. if that was the case, you know what I'm saying? But, and I've heard people say it, but I do think like poetry is important as a tool to help build empathy. And that's how I use it. That's how I approach it. And that's why I wanted to do something and create this workshop that's more centered on storytelling as something where it's like a release for people. I see poetry as a tool of release. Yeah. Thank you for that question, though. It made me think. Ooh, someone did some drawings. Do I get that?
Yeah, it's going to be coloured up in Photoshop, and then I'll send it around to you guys. But this is your little section here. I've been jumping between the workshops, but I just got a little bit of space to fill. And poetry as a release feels like a perfect quote to put in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Jenny's doing like illustrations for our sessions today. So all the sessions will have like some kind of illustration to like look back on and kind of like a little remembrance.
That's so cool. I love it. I love the way it looks. Yeah. Anybody have a story they would like to share? I would love to hear how some of y'all got to those conclusions.
Okay, I'll see if I can share this story.
Definitely. Thank you.
Orally. I'll be honest, I have written this story, but the words are not in front of me. It's also a story I've told my children. Okay.
I would love, yeah. So if you could keep it under or around 5 minutes, that would be perfect. But yeah, you know the way, you know the story, you know the
I know
way.
the story, okay, because my grandma
Yeah,
killed that snake.
that's right.
All right. So, um, the story takes place about, let's see, it was about 1959. So I was about 4 years old. I live on John's Island in a trailer on my grandfather's property. My grandmother is an ill woman. She had diabetes and tuberculosis, things that we handle very well today, but they didn't manage it so well. So grandma didn't do much but sit on her chaise lounge, read her Bible or the Reader's Digest. In the process, she taught me to read. Her big activity for the day was to go around and look at her flower beds. So this one particular day, we've gone out. She had beautiful red calla lilies. I don't know if you've ever seen those or know what they are, but they're very tall and kind of a majestic plant because they have large green leaves, and hers had yellow and red blossoms, depending on the plant. And they just sort of reached to the sky. So we went out there and she told me how she planted them. I had never known my grandmother to do anything but sit on the chaise lounge. But we went and we walked through every day, saw the flowers, and we got over to the pump house. And we're looking, and there's a bleeding heart. And the bleeding heart is a very delicate flower. Its leaves are kind of fringed. They look like if you touched them, they would break. Its flower is in the shape of a heart, red with a white tip. So the heart is either bleeding or crying. Okay. So we go, and there are a couple of weeds near this plant. And I'm Thor, and I'm very eager to help my grandmother. And so I kind of rush in and I'm pulling at the grass that has gone up around her plant. And remember, this is Charleston, South Carolina, and it's warm and it's hot. And as I reach my hand in, a snake runs out. Now, I am terrified of snakes. There are not enough words to describe how terrified I am. I begin to scream. I'm screeching, yelling. You would think someone was killing me. I grab a hold of my frail grandmother. She pushes me aside. She grabs a hoe that was nearby, and she chops the snake into bits. And after she chops the snake into bits, I realize she's crying. And I'm like, what did I do? I mean, who would cry over a snake? You know, even 4-year-old me didn't understand that. And when she finally got me really calmed down, she looked at me and she told me, no, I'm crying. You didn't do anything, honey. I'm crying because I killed one of God's creatures who could do us no harm. She's the gentlest woman I ever knew. And to this day, I always have a bleeding heart whenever I have a flower garden.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have time. I did better than what I anticipated with time, y'all. Anyone else have questions or?
I have a question about like your inspiration. Like, where did you find inspiration? Like in poetry and storytelling. Like, who did you look to or look up to?
My brother is probably one of the bigger. So my name, I go by Outspoken Bean. That's like my moniker. My name is Emmanuel Lee Bean, but all my siblings, right, is we all have the same last name. And my eldest brother, who's passed, he's he was the he was A1 to me. Like, when he died, it really hit me. He's 15 years older than me. Was 15 years older than me, and when Katrina happened in New Orleans, he moved to Atlanta, and our relationship became stronger and became tighter with each other. And we talked every day. We talked pretty much every day. And when I talk to his daughter, my niece now, like it's like talking to him in a lot of ways. But when I get my hair cut, we would go to New Orleans from San Antonio, and my dad would let me go with my brother. He would leave us alone and spend time. He was the first person I ever saw rap that wasn't on TV, and I emulated him, and essentially he was the first person that like I would brag about him when I would go back to San Antonio and talk about like how my brother rapped and how he was better than everybody, and even though like he had no music out or stuff. When he died, though, the reason why I go by Outspoken Bean is named after him. Well, what we would argue all the time. I was in college and we would argue all the time about just everything. Um, and he was like, honestly, bro, I really think you should go by, I know you go by Outspoken, but people call you Bean anyway, which is common in our family. Um, you should go by Outspoken Bean. I think that sounds cool. And I was like, what? That name sounds dumb, dog. And his childhood name was Dew, like poo poo, like crap, right? It was Dew because that was like I don't know why, it's abuse. So he went by Dew, and so when he got older, he went by Dew Benefit. Like that was his rap name, that was his moniker. And so him saying, "Yo, go by Outspoken Bean," I think that would be dope. I was like, I'm not about to go by a name after someone who goes by shit benefit, dog. Like, I'm not doing that. Are you serious? And like, you go by that, and you giving me advice. I'm not taking it. I don't know how much longer, but before Prairie View A&M went to competition, which we wind up winning, he was the he died the day before. He was murdered the day before the competition began. And when you win a poetry slam, you have to sign off like your names, like, and you have to sign off your real name and then sign off like the name if they put it in papers what you want to go by. And I've been going by Outspoken Bean ever since. That's it. So people who I'm inspired by though are artists Sonny Patterson, Buddy Wakefield, Mark Bamuthi Joseph. These are all poets and storytellers. Susan Laurie Parks, she's a playwright. Robert Wilson, he's a theater producer, but also just an imaginary person. The ideas of like, yeah, these are things I find myself going back to often.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing that story. That was really special.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for sharing. As we kind of wrap up the time, we may be able to take one more question if anyone has something to ask. If not, I may have a question for you, but the floor is open for a few seconds.
I just put in the chat if we're going to hear your poetry.
In the midst of the game, Jalen Hands holds his UCLA teammate Moses Brown, holds his head up, like the direction his hair grows. Up there is a statue of a Afro crown. My man, never let them see you with yours down, even for an adjustment. The Sphinx doesn't blink, and they still shot off its nose, my brother, when the sails lacks wind. Flagships needs a tugboat. The castle of black men requires the protection of a moat. My man, I will always be around. Subsequently, we have found ourselves to hold in each other rather than allowing ourselves to emote. So we drew back in and crafted ourselves as a ridge when we should have been allowing ourselves to become a drawbridge. During the night, I feel my moon looks up to me. Even from down here, my moon doesn't judge my gravity because he pulls for me. He knows the power behind preposition positioning. So between midnight yet before dawn, my moon whispers to me saying, find a way to keep your head above the clouds while your feet, your soul, and your soul remains grounded. However, never underneath it, my moon always does things clearly. Even from his backside, is always on the inside. My moon, y'all, is a proclamation. Even if it's this exclamation point, each day coming should be seen as an unto until we are all up on them, and only then that's when we will go into it. And I will end on this poem. It's called Isle of Self. And it's a poem about ships and finding self. So, self is an island, and that is a voyage worth taking. So I set my sails. There's parts of me as the wind wails where I feel lost at sea. As a messenger, I'm transparent. I carry messages in these flesh bottles delivered by a trusted member. Ahoy, matey, shiver me timbers. I found myself hooked off handshake as I peg one leg forward to endure my quest. It has marked an X and raided my chest, drifting to remember that self is an island, that self is an island, that self is an island. The only odd I see is that I don't feel like I'm the captain now, navigating these peerless seas like Blackbeard just to be screwed like Phillips. It's either be a castaway or become casted away, seen as trash, but I will reclaim my trash because that is my treasure, and I will always protect my treasure, even if it's for peace of my self island. That is my self island. This voyage is worth its peace, and piece by piece, this will map together. So before the drifting away, before Kraken's release and the tentacles reach my floorboards, before being forced to walk a plank, plummeting leagues deep into an emotions ocean where the chop of the waves crack helms and breaks oars of imperfect storms, before my acute sanity is thrown overboard, my obtuse compass brought me to the solitude of Bermuda's Triangle. I know that internally my map has a legend and a key. Allegedly, my isle of self is when my longitude and latitude are still. It is when they are still. It is when they are still. It is when I become still. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We loved it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was my pleasure. I'm so happy I was able to be a part of this. Thank y'all for inviting me. I'm sorry y'all couldn't hear Russell's music, but I guarantee you he did do it. And it was fire.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today and for guiding us through this workshop and seeing storytelling in a different light, where we know our conclusion first and sharing our story afterwards. So if people would like to connect with you, what is the best way to do so?
Sure. Outspoken Bean, at Outspoken Bean. It's all spelled correctly. OUTSPOKENBEAN. Or you can or outspokenbean.com. That's also, so Outspoken Bean, Google it, you'll find me. I'm easy to find.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.